Aloha, Commanders, and welcome to Later Tonight with Dr. Iron Chef, hosted on Aloha Diz.
Please be sure to follow on Twitch and subscribe on YouTube for all the latest content.
Today we are diving into the new blog post and video from Beck over at Star Trek Fleet Command. Basically, the lowdown on the latest updates.
Yeah, we've got the official patch notes, that blog post, and the STFC YouTube video. Those are our sources.
And we're going to unpack those for you.
Right. Our mission is, well, pretty straightforward. Cut straight to the chase, pull out the important stuff from this Wrath of Khan Part 2 update.
So you can figure out what's new and, why it actually matters for your game.
Exactly. And the sources really set the theme. Khan's back. But this time, it's all about vengeance.
Yeah.
Personal.
Intense feels right, because it's not just like a few tweaks. We've got new missions, a big new ship, officers.
And those quality of life improvements everyone always asks about.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with Khan himself. So you mentioned Khan's back, focused on vengeance, not conquest. And the sources say he now has the Genesis device. That sounds bad.
Yeah, definitely bad. And the game reflects this directly with the new missions.
How so?
Well, there are 10 new core missions. They're called Vengeance of Khan for players Ops 38 and up.
Right, focus on stopping him in that device.
Precisely. And then there are also 5 side missions, Altered Parameters for level 40 plus Hess. Those involve LT Saavik.
Saavik, oh, interesting. Kobayashi Maru stuff.
Looks like it. A chance to sort of revisit or even maybe rewrite parts of that scenario. Connects gameplay right back to the movie moments.
Okay, speaking of gameplay, the big, shiny new toy, the USS Reliant. Legendary status.
Yep, available from Ops 26 up. And the sources are really clear on this.
It's built for one thing.
Pretty much. Countering Augment Exile threats. Khan's crew. It's not a generalist ship at all. Its abilities are like laser focused.
Laser focused how? What kind of abilities are we talking about?
Okay, so take MRRE insulation. The notes explain this counters a specific ability on the Hijacked D7 and DWA 200 ships. Khan uses, it's called dilithium destabilization.
Dilithium destabilization? What does that do? Drain your warp core or something?
Sort of, yeah. Think of it like a virus hitting your engine. It can cripple your power, stop you warping out. MRA insulation is like the specific antivirus for that. It just stops it cold, protects your mobility.
Gotcha. So targeted defense. What else?
Then there's Reliant payoff. This one's about loot. A massive increase in hijack splicers from Augment Exiles.
Oh, massive.
Up to 3,500%.
Whoa. Okay, 3,500%. That's not just a bonus. That's game-changing for farming that stuff.
Exactly. It fundamentally changes the efficiency.
Wow.
Way more bang for your buck using this ship for that specific grind. Speeds things up a lot.
All right, defense, loot. What about offense?
Oh, the offense is wild. Always Reliant. It gives the ship this enormous isolytic damage boost.
Up to
75,000%.
75,000%.
Yeah. But only against Augment Exile hostiles. Isolytic damage. That special energy type. This makes the Reliant just melt through Khan's ships. Other ships just won't compare for that specific task.
Makes sense. And survivability.
Reliant barrier. Boosts its apex barrier by 50,000. Again, only versus Augment Exiles.
Apex barrier. That's like a temporary shield,
Thanks.
right? Absorbs damage.
That's the one. So a 50,000 boost makes it way tougher when you're face-to-face with those high-damage augments. It's clear, right? The Reliant isn't just an option.
It's the option, the purpose-built counter.
Pretty much. If you want to tackle that high-level augment content efficiently, this ship looks essential.
And it sounds like just getting the ship isn't the end game. Tiering it up unlocks more stuff. As sources mention idle farming, exclusive claims, forbidden tech, priority 108 teams, and these Reliant tier-up gifts.
Right. The tier-up gifts are basically rewards you get as you hit certain tiers, T1 through T18.
What kind of rewards?
You get RAS credits, different rarities, common up to epic, and crucially, Wrath Choice tokens. The video also called them Reliant Choice tokens.
Tokens for officers.
Exactly. They unlocked different officers based on the tier bracket you hit. Tiers 1 to 4 get you Hake. Common tokens think Pike. 5 of 11, Borg Queen.
Okay.
Tiers 5-9 give uncommon tokens for Cisco, Tendi, Freeman. Tiers 10-14 are rare tokens, SNW Pike, the Doctor, NTE Picard.
And the top tiers.
Tiers 15-18 give epic tokens. And these unlock the really powerful new officers. WOK Carol Marcus, WOK Montgomery Scott, Josh Tolra. So tiering the ship is also your path to getting these key officers and resources.
Plus, the sources mentioned a buff for Wrath credits if you have the Augment Prime Ordnance.
Yeah, a 50% bonus payout on the Wrath credits from those tier-up gifts if you have that Prime node. Nice little extra boost.
Okay, so tiering the Reliant gives officers and credits, but then there are these Augment Faction Favors too, exclusive to Reliant owners, bought with RAV credits. What do those do? Sounds like another layer of long-term benefit.
Oh yeah, these savers add some serious strategic depth, especially if you're leaning into the augment stuff with the Reliant.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Okay, well, there are officer cost efficiency boosts, up to 50% reduction for specific crews, Retaliation, Symbiosis, Galaxy Quest, Mirror Universe, and XO1. Using those crews gets much cheaper.
That's significant for resource management. What else?
There's advanced drafting. Gives you an extra chest pull in the Priority 1 away team store, but specifically for ship blueprints. You know how crucial those are for in-game ships.
Definitely. An extra pull is valuable.
For PvP, there's hyperalgesia and hypoalgesia, new mechanics affecting critical hit damage against other players. Adds a new wrinkle there.
Okay. Anything affecting the whole fleet.
Yes, this is huge. Advanced structural integrity and metaphasic shielding. These grant massive increases up to 2,000% to the base HHP and SHP for all your ships.
Wait, 2,000% HHP SHP for all ships, just from these favors?
Yep. Tied to the Reliant progression, but the buff applies fleet-wide. It could fundamentally change the toughness of your entire lineup.
Wow. Okay, that's a massive impact.
There's also the Augment Warp Core Favor, gives the Reliant itself a huge base warp range boost up to 920. Makes reaching those distant augment systems much easier.
Faster farming runs.
Right. And finally, a mission unlocked via favors to access Augment Exile space superhighways. Again, faster travel. So putting it all together, these favors aren't minor tweaks. They're big strategic advantages for people investing heavily in the Reliant path.
That is a lot tied to one ship's progression. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Quality of life, always good news. What about the independent archives? Something about the Franklin and Franklin A.
Yeah, big update there. You can now achieve mastery for both. Franklin needs Tier 9 ship, Archives level 25. Franklin A is Tier 12 ship, Archives level 50.
And mastery does what exactly? Just cleans up the refinery?
It does consolidate the bundles in the refinery, which is nice.
Okay.
But the real juice is progressing the Archive pillars tied to mastery.
Ah, the buffs.
Exactly. You get cost efficiency for parts, more damage versus swarm. And here's the kicker. Increased HHP from Franklin Mastery and SHP from Franklin A Mastery that applies to all your ships.
Again, fleet-wide HHP and SHP buffs.
Fleet-wide. Permanent buffs to your entire fleet's survivability just from mastering these specific ships in the archives.
Okay, that's definitely worth noting. They did mention something about needing to rebuild scrapped Franklins.
Right. If you scrapped a Franklin before Tier 9, you need to rebuild it to get full mastery access. You can still claim pillars you earned up to the tier you scrapped it at, but not to fill mastery bonuses without rebuilding.
Good to know. What other QL things did the notes mention?
Let's see. Expanded loot drops from high-level Augment Exiles, including the epic ones that apparently weren't dropping stuff before.
Finally.
Yeah. And a new skull icon on the galaxy map next to Hijacked D7s makes them easier to spot when zoomed in.
Handy.
And hangar slots. Everyone gets 11 more hangar slots.
Oh, thank goodness. That's been needed for ages. More room for miners and support ships.
Definitely a welcome change. Long overdue for many players.
What about new players? Anything to make the early game less chaotic?
Yes, actually.
Yep.
For Ops levels 1 through 20, they're rolling out an improved UI. The idea is to introduce elements gradually between levels 2 and 19 instead of hitting players with everything at once.
So tabs unlock as you level up.
Pretty much. To avoid overwhelming new folks. If you're already in that Ops 120 range, you might see some tabs temporarily hidden until you hit Ops 21, then it goes back to the full standard view. Just trying to smooth out that initial learning curve.
Makes sense. Okay, let's top officers. 2 new ones, tied to Wrath of Khan. Epic WOK Scotty and Rare WOK Saavik. Tell us about them.
Right, so Epic WOK Scotty, he's the miracle worker, right?
Yeah.
Devoted, resilient engineer. The description really plays up his commitment even through grief.
Classic Scotty. And
Rare WOK Saavik. She's the Vulcan cadet from the Kobayashi Maru cast. By the book, composed, but maybe hiding some emotion under the surface, especially after Spock's sacrifice in the movie.
Okay, cool character flavor. Now, the important part. What do they do in the game? Abilities.
Okay, Scotty first. His officer ability is all they've got. Big one. Increases loot from all armadas. Up to 125%.
All armadas, not just specific ones.
Nope, all of them. That could make him a go-to for anyone doing regular armada runs for resources.
Wow. And his below deck.
Too many bumps. Reduces enemy shield mitigation up to 40%, but only against non-armada hostiles.
So makes your energy weapons hit harder against regular enemies.
Exactly. Helps punch through their shields. His traits are resilient, loyal, passionate.
All right, Scotty's focused on loot and general hostile combat. What about Saavik?
Saavik's officer ability, a fair test, is more specialized. It boosts Isolytic Cascade damage up to 150%, specifically in wave defense mode right at the start of combat.
Isolytic Cascade, that's a weapon type on some ships, right? So a boost for that specific mode.
Yeah, wave defense can be tough, so boosting damage right away could be key for clearing early waves.
Okay, and her below deck.
By the book. This one also boosts Isolytic Cascade damage up to 70% against non-Armada hostiles. But it only triggers for one round at the start of the round if the enemy has a state applied like burning, hull breach, that kind of thing.
Ah, so conditional damage boost. Needs setup, her traits.
Disciplined and resilient. And the sources make a point of saying both Scotty and Saavik significantly boost your critical success chance and priority 1 away team assignments.
Oh, right. Those P1 crits are important for research and parts. So you've got Scotty with a broad, massive loot boost and Saavik with more specialized conditional damage boosts, but both help with P1s. Interesting choice there.
Definitely presents a strategic question about how you use them, especially with those P1 assignments.
What else did the sources mention quickly? A Reliant refit, chaos tech.
Yep, a hijacked USS Reliant refit. Boosts Wrath credits from the mega claim, increases base loot from hijacked hostiles, and bumps up augment rep gains from them. Purely focused on optimizing Reliant farming.
Gotcha. And new chaos tech.
3 pieces. C12 Stasis Globe, Epic Hazard Protection, Warp Speed, HHP, Omega Molecule Rare, better Krenim farming,
Yeah.
Apex Barrier versus Krenim, crit damage versus all, and Ceti Eel, uncommon, weapon damage versus armadas and hostiles.
Okay, niche buffs there. And a new PvP thing.
A new Apex Beam projectile for PvP. Increases your Apex Shred by 5%. Helps break down opponent defenses in player combat.
Right. And of course, a new battle pass and bug fixes.
Standard stuff. New WOKS Part 2, Premium Elite Pass, and yeah, the usual list of known issues and fixes showing they're still working on things.
Okay, so wrapping this all up. Wrath of Khan Part 2 sounds like a pretty significant update, eh? Especially for mid to high level players focused on Augment.
Absolutely. The focus is sharp. It's all about Khan's return, his vengeance, the Genesis device.
And the USS Reliant seems like the absolute core of how you deal with that.
It really does. It's not just a ship, it's presented as the tool. Its abilities, the favors unlocked through it, even how it ties into getting the new officers. Yeah.
It
It all revolves around countering this specific threat.
The sources really push that idea of Khan shifting from Conqueror to Avenger.
Exactly. And the game mechanics seem built to reflect that shift. The missions are about stopping him. The ship is built to counter him and his forces. Which brings us to that final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. Given how purpose-built everything seems to be on it, the favors to counter Khan's specific vengeful return, how does this shift from broader conflicts and pass arcs to this really personal, focused, fight-changer strategy?
Right. What does it mean for where you put your resources, your time, your effort in this arc? Are you all in on the tools designed for this specific enemy?
Something to consider as you jump in.
Definitely. Well, that was a pretty deep dive into the patch notes blog and the video summary. Lots of detail there.
Yeah, and remember, this was just hitting the highlights. For the full picture, all the nitty-gritty stats, the complete favor lists, bug fixes, check out those original sources from Beck and the STFC team, and of course, see it all in action in the game.
Absolutely. Be sure to follow Dr. Iron Chef on Twitch and subscribe to Aloha Diz on YouTube.
Mahalo for joining us.